Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we've got a heartwarming story that shows the magic of unexpected moments and how a simple act of kindness can change lives. If you love stories that inspire and uplift, make sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Now, let's dive into today's story. The Road to Compassion. Roman's journey with a lost pup. Roman was always the first to burst out of the classroom when the final bell rang. Unlike the other kids who hurried to the bustling streets, Roman preferred the quiet of his own route home. Fridays were the best because he had the whole weekend ahead, filled with endless possibilities. Today was no different. As soon as the teacher dismissed them, he grabbed his bag and raced out of the door, his heart pounding with excitement. He loved his walk home. It was a narrow dirt road winding through lush green fields, past an old banyan tree, and eventually leading to his village. This path was his escape from the noise and chaos. Here, he could let his imagination soar, dreaming of adventures and heroic feats. But today, something felt different. As he walked, he heard a faint, pitiful sound, barely audible over the rustling leaves and distant chirping of birds. It was a soft whimper, and it seemed to come from somewhere close by. Roman slowed his pace, straining his ears to pinpoint the source of the sound. Curiosity took over, and he stepped off the path into the tall grass. Nestled under a bush, he found a small, shivering puppy. It was tiny, no more than a few weeks old, with matted fur and eyes that seemed too big for its little face. The puppy looked up at Roman with a mixture of fear and hope, its tiny body trembling. It was a heartbreaking sight. Roman hesitated, unsure of what to do. His mind raced with conflicting thoughts. He was already late, and his mother would be waiting for him. But leaving this helpless creature here, alone and scared, felt wrong. It might not survive the night. The puppy let out another soft whimper, and Roman's heart softened. He knew he couldn't walk away. Kneeling down, he gently scooped the puppy into his arms. It was so light, just a bundle of fur and bones. The puppy nuzzled against his chest, its trembling slowly easing as it felt the warmth of his body. Roman looked around, hoping to find any sign of the puppy's owner, but there was no one in sight. It was clear this little creature had been abandoned, left to fend for itself in a world too harsh for something so small. As he began the walk home, the weight of his decision settled on him. What would his mother say? They already had an old, grumpy dog who didn't get along well with strangers, especially not with new four-legged friends. There was the added burden of feeding and caring for another pet. They weren't wealthy, and every mouth to feed was a challenge. But as Roman looked down at the puppy, now asleep in his arms, he knew he couldn't turn back. The way the puppy had looked at him, with those trusting eyes, made him feel responsible. It was as if the puppy had chosen him, and in that moment, he silently promised to protect it. The walk home felt longer than usual, the setting sun casting long shadows along the road. Roman's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, trying to figure out how to explain the puppy to his mother. He rehearsed different scenarios in his head, but none seemed convincing enough. Yet, he knew he had to try. When he finally reached his house, he paused at the gate, taking a deep breath. The familiar sounds of his mother's voice reached him. She was in the kitchen, likely preparing dinner. The delicious aroma of spices filled the air, making him realize just how hungry he was. But first, he had to deal with the puppy. He walked into the house quietly, trying not to draw attention. But as luck would have it, his mother turned around just as he was about to sneak past the kitchen. "Roman, why are you so late?" she asked, her tone curious rather than angry. For a moment, he was silent, searching for the right words. Then, deciding that honesty was best, he held up the puppy for her to see. "I found it on the way home," he said simply. "It was all alone. Couldn't just leave it there." His mother's expression softened as she looked at the puppy, now blinking up at her with sleepy eyes. She sighed, wiping her hands on her apron before walking over to them. "Oh, Roman," she said, shaking her head, though a small smile played on her lips. "What are we going to do with you?" To his relief, she didn't scold him. Instead, she took the puppy into her arms, examining it closely. "It's so tiny," she murmured, her voice filled with concern. "And it looks hungry." Without another word, she went to the kitchen and returned with a small bowl of milk. She placed it on the floor, and the puppy eagerly lapped it up, its tiny tail wagging furiously. Roman watched with a sense of relief washing over him. He hadn't realized how worried he had been until that moment. His mother's acceptance of the puppy made everything seem all right. Over the next few days, Puppy quickly became a beloved member of the household. Despite initial grumbling from their old dog, who eventually learned to tolerate the new addition, Puppy brought a fresh energy to the home. They named him Max, fitting name for such a small creature. Roman's friends envied him when they saw Max. They came over to play, laughing as the little dog chased after them, its ears flopping as it ran. For Roman, Max was more than just a pet. He was a constant companion, always there with a wagging tail and a cheerful bark. As the weeks went by, Roman noticed something wonderful. His old dog, once grumpy and distant, seemed to have a new lease on life. Max's playful nature brought out a side of the old dog that Roman hadn't seen in years. Two dogs would play together in the yard, Max teaching the old dog new tricks while the old dog showed Max the ropes. One day, as Roman sat in the yard watching them play, his mother came and sat beside him. She looked at the two dogs with a smile. "You know, Roman," she said softly, "sometimes the things we don't plan for end up being the most important. You brought Max home without thinking about how we would manage. Look at how happy he's made all of us. Even the old dog has a new spring in his step." Roman nodded, thoughtful expression on his face. He had been so worried about managing with another dog, but in the end, it had all worked out better than he could have imagined. His mother continued, "Life is like that, Roman. Sometimes we have to take risks, step out of our comfort zone, and do what feels right, even if it's not the easiest thing to do. And often, when we do, we find that the rewards are greater than we ever expected." Roman looked at his mother, her words sinking in. She was right. Bringing Max home had been a risk, but it was one he would take again in a heartbeat. The joy that little puppy had brought into their lives was immeasurable, and it was a reminder that sometimes the best things in life are the ones we never see coming. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over their village, Roman felt a deep sense of contentment. He realized that his mother's words were a valuable life lesson, one he would carry with him always. It wasn't just about the plans we made or the paths we walked. It was about the unexpected detours, unplanned moments, and the choices we made in those moments that truly shaped our journey. And so, the boy who had once been in a hurry to get home from school learned that sometimes it's worth taking a little extra time to help someone in need. By doing so, he not only changed the life of a small, helpless puppy, but also discovered a new meaning and joy in his own life. Life lesson: the most rewarding journeys are often those we don't plan for. By embracing the unexpected and acting with kindness, we find deeper fulfillment and happiness within ourselves. And that's a wrap on today's story. If you enjoyed the unexpected journey home, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.